AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Hey, Will.
Hey, bud.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Former Tiger Richard Dixon in 1 hour from right now. We will talk about that meeting going on down at the governor's mansion here in less than a month. It's coming up in about 15 minutes from right now. MLB Draft in the books. LSU head coach Jay Johnson, good enough to spend a couple of minutes with us here. It's always our pleasure. Thank you for the time. How are you?
Hey, Matt. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you. Expectation versus result. No doubt you go into the draft with something in your mind, and then it plays out the way it did. Based on what your expectation was, what do you think of the result?
Yeah, I thought it was good. First off, I want to start congratulating our players that got drafted, and obviously Derek being the 5th pick overall. That's what he came here to do.
Yep.
Pulled out of the draft out of high school and executed a plan, won a national championship, was a top 5 overall pick. Obviously proud of Jake Brown, coming in as a two-way player, was drafted as a pitcher out of high school, made himself into one of the best players in the SEC, and in my opinion, surefire big leaguer. And then 5 pitchers, get a chance to go out there and do their thing. So that was great. And then, relative to the roster, it was a very good recruiting class. You never know until you get through the draft, but it was different than in a lot of years, but we're really, really pleased with the result.
Can I go back to Derek for a minute? Because he becomes now the 7th player in the history of the program to go top 5. And when we look at Skeens, Cruz, Anderson, and now Curiel, 4 of the 7 have happened in the last 4 years under your watch. Is this, I don't mean it just for you to take a bow, but I think everybody recruits the high school ranks differently based on what the expectation is that you might get to campus. What do you make of that? Which is, Jay, it's really remarkable considering the history that this program has had over the last 50 years.
Yeah, that's actually pretty sweet. Thanks for telling me that. Seriously. It's awesome. Sometimes when you get the one that's going to make the difference, you talk about Paul, we were really set up from a position player standpoint going into 23. I had no idea he was going to turn into the best pitcher on the planet. I'd be lying if I said I did. But I knew he was a stalwart, starting pitcher, ace, and putting him on that team, we're national champions and number 1 pick and all-star Cy Young, and maybe not quite to that degree, but getting Derek to school was a big deal, and he also spearheaded a national championship and now a top 5 pick. It's pretty cool, and obviously very, very proud of those guys. And those other 2 you mentioned with Dylan and Cade, they're great baseball talents, but 4 of the best human beings you'll ever meet, and that's the separator.
I'm glad you brought up Paul Skeens, because one of the things I actually wrote down I wanted to ask you about, I remember having this conversation with you after the championship in 23, and I'm sure you told this story many times in many different ways, and correct me if I'm misinterpreting, but you talked about after the season ends, you don't know any other thing to do than just to go to work. And after losing that regional to Southern Miss, you went back to the hotel room, you opened up the portal, and you saw Skeens' name, and you were on the phone with him in 15 minutes. I'm curious, and tell me if I misinterpreted any of that, but I think I was curious how the disappointment of this season has translated into what you've done this offseason?
Yeah, good question. I think a few people have asked me about that. I think probably the amount of time you can spend on one thing. I would never use winning national championships as an excuse of what you do or you don't do in recruiting the transfer portal or preparing for the draft. But I never really realized how different it was to do this when you're not playing. And it's massively different. And I think our coaching staff has used that time, extra time, as good as we possibly could. Now, I never want to have that extra time ever again. But I think we've responded well to whatever you want to call it, disappointment, failure, adversity, the way you're supposed to if you're a winner.
Yeah. Coach, I know this is 11 bajillionth on your list of things you care about, but baseball not playing past Memorial Day really sucks for a radio host that's got to do 3 hours a day in June. So I'm with you, man. Keep playing through June. It's a good thing.
Yes, sir.
Jay Johnson is our guest. I know what watching the draft is like for me. I'm curious what it's like for you. I mean, is your phone ringing throughout? What is it like? Are your signees calling you? What's it like?
Yeah, this was one for the ages. Somebody was asking me about it this morning, and it was like, man, I wish we did like a Netflix documentary on like the last 72 hours. Like, I think we could make some money off of it.
Okay.
Like, it was high stakes is the way I would say. Like, the first big impact win was on Friday night. Lucas Naraki decided to withdraw his name and come to school. And that's a massive deal for our program. And you'll see why when he gets here. And it's just more than talent. It's a guy that I think has that it factor competitiveness that you need to be a star at LSU. And we're doing the two-way thing. So that was obviously a great start to the weekend. And then, kind of got in the mode of, watching the deal for Derek and being excited about that. And then it's like, Logan Schmidt's probably going to go, and get selected, and he was selected. And then Jensen Hirschkorn, we actually spent a lot of time on, to try to get him here, and knowing it was going to be a tall task, but, good draft strategy by the Braves, to get him in the boat. But then we kind of look up and it's like, okay, that's only 2 guys. And then one of the signees called me in the middle of the second round, like, hey, I'm going to pull out of this thing. Another one was like, hey, we need to talk afterwards. I want to know what to do. What do you think? And I think I left the office at 12:30 in the morning on Saturday and Sunday. And then we were right back in here. My wife had ordered breakfast for us, and we're at it all day yesterday. And a lot of moving parts. It was one for the ages for sure.
I love that. I don't know what I don't know if you can't talk about this, that's fine. You just tell me. But numbers. We know there's a hard cap of 34, but there's the possibility of DSAing guys from the freshmen from a year ago. As best you can tell, where are you with numbers for the roster?
Yeah, we're all set.
Okay, good.
We'll probably have 39 players in the fall, and it's all set with the designated student athlete thing from last year.
So can you confirm, so you all did DSA, was it the entire freshman class from a year ago?
No, I'm not avoiding this. It's like hard to explain. It's so hard to explain. We have it set up the way that we needed to. So, everybody's fit in, and every conversation that's needed to be had has been had with everybody, and we're good to go.
Is there anything that maybe a position you didn't address in the portal that you feel like maybe after the draft you're good now there?
Yeah, I think the portal thing's tricky because I guess it would be like MLB free agency. You're just kind of at mercy of what's available in a particular year. And in this case, you don't know that because you don't know who's going into the portal. And we're not going to take a player just to take them. I think that maybe the easy one based on returners, you would go left-handed pitching. And we tried really hard to get one, and we actually went after 10 players in the portal. We got 8 of them. One of the 2 we didn't get was a left-handed pitcher. And, you never know what's around the corner, getting Lucas to school. We're really excited about Braxton Beatty. I think he's got a little gauge jump in him, as a pitcher. And Braden Cuppett, And then Jonah Ossie missed last year. So we actually have 7 on the roster. And the other thing, too, is, next year's team, the returning players need to play better. Like that's a big part of this thing. And when you look at Cooper Williams, Danny Lackenmeyer, Ethan Plog, like those guys are far more talented than the performances they gave last year. And I'm confident we're going to get more out of them.
Man. Competition in the outfield and fall ball is going to be pretty exciting to watch how that all plays out. Probably throughout the entire roster as Tigers make it through the draft. Jay, looks like you came up smelling like roses, man. We're excited to see how it goes from here. LSU baseball coach Jay Johnson. We always appreciate the time, and hopefully you're able to get some rest after those late nights and early breakfasts.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Matt.
Yep, it's our pleasure. That's Jay Johnson. Always generous with his time. We appreciate him for making time. And I love the I love the context on what it's like for him watching the draft, because it's just so the Major League Draft is just so different from every other draft experience, right? Like if in football and basketball, which one of your players have declared and they're gone, like it's over. And then the high school guys are coming. And this is just such a different experience. And I'm so glad he painted that picture of like being there and guys calling him and saying, I'm going to pull out, or we need to talk about some things. Like it's frenetic because you're balancing so many things and your roster is hanging in the balance there. I can't imagine, like, for all we talk about football and the portal and the money and trying to balance your roster in all those ways, at least you have time to do it. In the baseball draft, it is upon you and you go. Feels like a huge win for Jay Johnson and the baseball Tigers this past weekend. Okay, it's after further review. We are brought about First South Farm Credit. Thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthfarmcredit.com. Spell it out, firstsouthfarmcredit.com. They've been doing it since 1916, doing one thing, helping Louisianians buy land. So, by the way, as we move toward the fall, and hunting season is coming upon us, maybe if you're tired of sharing that lease with someone else or hunting on someone else's lease, you want your own piece of property, start today. Go to firstsouthfarmcredit.com. Firstsouthfarmcredit.com. Buying land is different than buying a home. There's a lot of different complexities, and they've done it for more than 100 years. So if you need to buy land, you need First South Farm Credit. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Firstsouthfarmcredit.com. Firstsouthfarmcredit.com. All right, it's after further review. Thanks to Jay Johnson for hanging out. Richard Dixon in 45 minutes, talk about LSU football. Last Thursday, we broke the story over at LouisianaSports.net of that top 40 donor meeting coming up at the governor's mansion on August, well, it would be two of them, August 3rd and August the 5th. I'll give you a little bit of context behind that story and what I can tell you. Hopefully it's helpful. We'll do that next. It's AFR.
AFR.
We got back from the beach, and as awesome as a beach trip is, there's nothing quite like being in your own backyard, your own outdoor oasis, your own backyard paradise. Well, DuPlessis Pools can make that happen for you like they do for Louisianians every single day. If you're thinking of putting in that pool, that outdoor kitchen, turning your outdoor space into your own personal paradise, DuPlessis Pools is the best. A top 50 pool builder in America for the second consecutive year by Pool & Spa Magazine. Not only are they going to build you a beautiful pool, they're going to build you a beautiful pool that lasts. If you are thinking about putting in that pool, start today at DuPlessisPools.com. You can go design the pool right there on the homepage, pick all the finishes. You can work out your financing on it. You can pay for it all right now if you want, right now. Get in the queue at DuPlessisPools.com. Call Derek Duplessis and the gang. DuPlessisPools.com. DuPlessisPools.com. Man, I love getting messages like this. Got a DM from a listener named Randy who took my advice, who called Insurance Network of Louisiana and was able to save $501 a year on his auto insurance. It's over $40 a month in savings, and that's just for calling Insurance Network of Louisiana. Whether it's your home, auto, business insurance. Insurance Network of Louisiana shops dozens of the top-rated companies in the world to find you better coverage for less money, and it's free. There's no catch. Free for free. Like, if they can't save you money, they say, hey, stick with what you got. It's great. And if you're able to switch and save, great, then switch. It's Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call right now. 293-0450. 293-0450. 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
Well, last week, we broke the story over at LouisianaSports.net that the Tiger Athletic Foundation sent a notice, an email, to the top 40 donors at LSU, athletic donors, inviting them to a meeting at the Governor's Mansion. There'll be two meetings, one August 3rd, the next August the 5th, to hear from LSU System President Dr. Wade Roos what their plan is for the financial future at LSU Athletics. And there were two things in this email that went out that really caught my eye in particular. Two parts of the email. One was when they said, and again, the letter was from Matt Borman, who's the president and CEO of the Tiger Athletic Foundation. And it reads, let me be clear, this is not an ask for money. It's not a fundraiser. It's informational. This is a conversation about the future of LSU athletics. That's one. Because some people, I think, see that, and maybe the cynic is led to believe, oh, well, they're just trying to get a bunch of wealthy people in the room to pass the hat and raise money. That's clearly not what this is. And I don't believe it's a bait and switch based on what I've been able to find out. The other part that I thought was fascinating was the line that reads, it's, quote, to get a first look at an alternative revenue-generating opportunity for LSU athletics that is first of its kind nationally and could quite possibly change the future of college sports in America. I think a lot of people have assumed that this is private equity. Well, if this was a straight private equity deal, that ain't a first of its kind nationally. The Big 12's done a private equity deal. The Big 10 has entertained private equity. Michigan State has signed a private equity deal. Utah has signed a private equity deal. Like, if this is just taking money from a PE firm and in exchange giving a percentage of LSU athletics revenues to that firm in perpetuity or for however long, like, that's not a first of its kind. So what is it? I'm not exactly 100% sure. There's some things that I do know. A lot of people have asked, well, why is the governor involved? Like, why are they doing this at the Governor's Mansion? I think it's important to note, number one, that the LSU system is still state-run. Although LSU Athletics does not accept state funds, it is self-sustaining. It is still a state part of the LSU system, which is state-run. The president of LSU was suggested by the governor, and the members of the Board of Supervisors are appointed by the governor. So naturally, this is something wherein the governor is going to have a say and a hand and a feel. And by the way, governors, it don't matter if you're left, right, RD, red, blue. Governors on both sides have been involved in LSU athletics literally for decades, going back to Huey Long. And then, in 2009, the Ole Miss Clockett game, there was you may not remember this, but there was a fight going on where Bobby Jindal was trying to prevent more cuts to higher education in the state. And there was a lot of boosters that wanted to fire Les Miles after that game. They wanted to fire his behind, leave him at the airport. And Bobby Jindal intervened because it would have been a terrible look to pay the football coach all this money not to coach while you're going hat in hand to the legislature saying, please don't cut higher education. So, and then there's John Bell Edwards, he used to wear the LSU football practice jersey, go throw the ball around at the indoor. Like, governors being involved is nothing new on either side of the aisle. So I don't care about that in any way. What I think is fascinating is Dr. Wade Roos's influence here. And I have had the opportunity to meet and speak with and get to know a little bit Dr. Roos since he was hired. I would say probably on 10 different occasions he and I have had occasion to speak, sometimes just briefly at a baseball game, a hello, at the Our Lady of the Lake Big Bash. We visited there. We have been at lunch together where we got to visit for an extended period of time. So I can't say that like Dr. Roos and I are best friends and we know each other. That would be disingenuous. But I have spent enough time in social settings and different opportunities with Dr. Roos at the Will Wade introductory press conference to have a good sense of the man. And I've said this on every platform I've ever been on when I've been asked about Dr. Roos and about this. My biggest overarching takeaway of Dr. Roos is that there are a lot of people who are going to listen to him, and they're going to underestimate him because he sounds like he's from Cutoff. And he's from Cutoff, by the way. And if you underestimate him because he's from Cutoff, that is a huge mistake. That is a colossal mistake. Because he is brilliant. And remember, if you don't know this, his background is in finance. Not only did he work for private equity firms, he spent so many years battling the Fed that ultimately the Federal Reserve in Chicago hired him. So he has been worked both in PE and for the Fed. High level understanding of finance and economics and money. It's one of the reasons that, take athletics aside, that I'm very bullish on him getting the LSU system in line and in order because he understands how to run it like a business. Anyway, I wanted to play this for you. I think I've referenced this in the past, but I would highly recommend if you're interested in learning more about Dr. Roos. He did a long-form interview on the Alligator Shoes podcast with Michael Hackett. I've referenced it several times. Fascinating. Just sit-down conversations with innovators, movers, shakers, business people around the area. Anyway, YouTube podcast, you'll find it. It's Alligator Shoes is the name of the podcast. And Dr. Roos sat down for almost an hour with Michael Hackett. And I when I was maybe the Vegas trip I was on a few weeks ago. When I went to go see No Doubt. I watched this on the plane. Anyway, you get a great sense of who Dr. Roos is if you go watch that podcast, which I would recommend you do if you're interested. But this was Dr. Roos explaining from his perspective why it is important and why he gets so involved in athletics.
When you look at the enterprise that the president's over, once we get UNO into the system, it's about $3.8 billion. Athletics is about $250 million, but it's the loudest $250 million. It's the part everybody sees, but it's a very small portion of the total expenditures of the LSU system. But why is it so important? For exactly what I just said. It's the loudest $250 million of the portfolio, and it truly drives the brand. I keep saying over and over that, hey, why do we need to win a national championship in Tiger Stadium? Because everywhere you go with an LSU shirt on, people will say, go Tigers. And what does that do? That allows us to attract a young lady from New Jersey who loves college football or knows about LSU, comes here, has a life-changing higher educational experience, goes to med school, marries a Boudreaux, and stays.
Right.
He gives a very long-form explanation in the interview if you want to check it out. But the point that he's making is not you want to be good in football just because he's an academician who cares way too much about the athletic side. It's he understands to expose the LSU brand, to increase applications, to increase enrollment, to become a top 50 research institution, the biggest megaphone to tell that story is to be great in sports, which is why they want to invest in sports, which is why he's going down this path, because ultimately what you and I want, sitting here from a sports angle, is for our team to win. That's what we want. So overwhelmingly, I think, and I might be wrong on this, but I think overwhelmingly, whatever Dr. Roos is going to say at that meeting, I don't think Paul from Port Allen and Nick from Norco really care. I don't. I think the only thing that the majority of us care about is, okay, will it help LSU win? Now, to be very clear, a straight private equity deal, a lot of you push back on that, and I don't blame you. Like, there are risks with private equity because private equity isn't just going to be silent money. They're not going to give LSU, you look at what some of these deals are, $250 million, whatever it is, and just, oh, here you go. Here's your money. Go spend it how you want. They're going to want involvement. They're going to want to streamline processes, maybe using AI to cut out jobs, to be more efficient, to help the bottom line. I mean, there are risks. But again, I don't think this is a straight private equity deal. In fact, I know it's not a straight private equity deal. But how this thing, whatever they're doing, I would assume they're going to take capital in some way, and how it's structured is going to be really interesting, because if he pulls off what he's saying and what Matt Borman says in that interview, in that email, a first of its kind revenue opportunity that could change college sports forever. Well, if he pulls that off, then LSU's on the front end, the front line of a transformative part of college athletics. Because remember, again, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, well, just increase revenue share. Well, it's not that simple. You're robbing Peter to pay Paul. You have to generate new revenue. Athletic departments, by and large, break even or lose money. It's not a revenue problem. It's a spending problem. So can you find a way to cut $20 million in spending? Even if you cut a handful of sports, you're not going to cut $20 million in spending. And if you could just find $20 million in new revenue, if it was that easy, you'd have already done it. So, yes, you need to be more responsible with your spending. And yes, you have to find new revenue opportunities like jersey patches, field logos, all those sorts of things. But you need perpetual recurring revenue to make up that gap which is only going to continue to grow. And so you're seeing a lot of conferences and schools find creative solutions. LSU just happens to have in this moment in time, as its system president, the guy who is a brilliant finance mind. So we'll find out on August the 3rd. I'm sure roughly 30 seconds after that meeting adjourns, everything will leak, if not before then, what exactly this is. But I will tell you, from my perspective, you got the right guy in the chair leading the charge. Can he pull it off? How will it be received? What exactly will it say? We'll find out in short order. But if you're looking at the jockey or the horse in this case, I think I probably trust both. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Let me knock out a quick break. Come back. You want to get involved and react to that, please feel free. We're halfway home on a Monday. Email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. That's the text line. If you want to get involved, you can feel free to do it. Stay with us. It's AFR presented by Relief Windows.
AFR.
Man, I love telling you about Glow Resources, glowresources.com, complete employer solutions. That's my buddy Jareth Knockan and my friends over at Glow Resources. Home base in Baton Rouge. They got office in New Orleans, Mississippi, and Florida, all over the region, and they help businesses all over the country doing work all over the world. I love telling some of these stories sometimes. Like, there's a company based out of California. There's a company in Louisiana, and Glow Resources found their employee in California to do work in Africa. That's the level and the scope that they can fill. But maybe you need anything from like an office assistant up to the C-suite right here in town. They can help you find the right people to make your business the most efficient it can be. It's Glow Resources. Check them out online at glowresources.com, glowresources.com.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
So while I was away, apparently Freddie, the German soccer fan, he went dark.
He did. He
What
deactivated
happened?
his account.
He deactivated
He
his account?
deactivated his account after Germany lost. And apparently just like his back all of a sudden.
Well, I only know this because I saw he tweeted today. Hello again. We're currently in Clemson, South Carolina. What a random place to
Poor guys.
What a random place. South Carolina. What are you talking about? South Carolina is beautiful.
Yeah, no, actually, I've been to South Carolina. I like South Carolina.
It's gorgeous. Yeah,
it's pretty safe.
Did an interview today on a South Carolina radio station, and they led me in out of break playing the South Carolina radio call of the pick six from the 2024 game that was negated by the penalty.
Yeah, the game they lost.
Yeah, the game they lost. They were going like, "Boo, Angel Reese, we hate LSU." I'm like, what in the world is? What a weird. I was like, man, this is like the definition of a loser's mentality. Great people though, and I love South Carolina. I think like the South Carolina. This is random. What a aside we've taken here, but like, I think South Carolina as a fan base is awesome and really resilient. I mean, they packed Williams-Brice Stadium during a winless season under Lou Holtz. It is remarkable, their resilience, despite rarely having anything to cheer for, but continuing to support their team at a high level. So now, I mean, their women's basketball program under Dawn Staley has been awesome, obviously. But anyway. But shout out to, I think South Carolina is a beautiful state. Every time I go, I've had a great time. Anyway, so Freddie tweeted that he's back, and apparently there were toxic people on social media and stuff like that. But now he's back, and look, here's the photo of him. Like he's at Clemson. He's got the little the smiley faces on his face there, so no one can tell that's him or what he looks like. But whatever. That's a little weird that he doesn't want people to know what his face is, right? That's a little weird.
That's a little odd, yeah. But I guess it kind of just goes into like his thing, where like people were trying to find out his identity because of it, and like being toxic and.
But what's like?
I don't know, man. Some people are just private guys.
Well, if you're a private guy, then don't go sharing everything on social media.
I mean, it's a good point.
You're choosing to be public.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I found this fascinating, and you might have seen this over the weekend or late last week. The World Cup game with the U.S. and Belgium did 50.1 million views on Fox and Telemundo. Did y'all talk about this? The dates, like, I've been gone for 2 weeks, so, and much of it was spent in a Bocock Brothers premium cigar and tequila-induced mindset for like a week straight at the beach.
Yeah, no, I mean, we did talk about that. Also, that mindset sounds just way better than being in here for 3 hours. But really no, good. We did. But really so the thing was, we got to talk a lot about the early numbers of that game before they had the final 53 or 51, whatever you said. So like
50.1.
Yeah, so like when we did it was 47. But we did talk about it, the ratings, the potential media rights, and all that.
Okay, so here's the bottom line. So the World Cup game with the U.S. and Belgium drew 50.1 million viewers. It was this is from Fox Analytics, the largest non-NFL sporting event television audience since the 1994 Winter Olympics. Now, the 1994 Winter Olympics is notable. I have to explain this for people who maybe weren't alive to understand this. That was the Nancy Kerrigan, Tanya Harding fiasco. If you're not familiar, go look it up. The long story short is Nancy Kerrigan is this beautiful All-American girl. Tanya Harding kind of had the rough upbringing. They were competitors for the Winter Olympics that year. And Tanya Harding's boyfriend, a guy named Jeff Gillooly, because of course had some goon go to the skating rink and club Nancy Kerrigan in the knee when she's leaving the ice. So there's this famous video of Nancy Kerrigan after she got clubbed in the knee saying, why? Anyway, they go to the Olympics, and that was and so the Olympics, they both went and compete. Nancy Kerrigan healed, and she wins the silver medal, and Tanya Harding had a problem with her shoelace, and she stunk, and everyone celebrated it, whatever. But that drama was massive. But because the Winter Olympics in 94 had that type of TV number, and remember, that was pre-cell phone, pre-social media, like there was, I mean, that it wasn't pre-internet, but the internet wasn't at scale in 1994. So like you wanted the news, you had to watch the evening news. You had to pick up the hard copy of the paper at your doorstep the next morning. Like I'm not a super old guy, but I'm old enough. It's weird because I'm old enough to remember life before cable and cell phones and all that sort of stuff too. But anyway, so that was just a massive thing. Well, that didn't make people in the United States fall in love with figure skating, and then all these kids start picking up figure skating, and it become a really popular sport in America. And so I know that there's cynics that will look at this U.S.-Belgium match drawing 50.1 million and say, well, that doesn't mean that we're going to have a foothold of soccer in the United States. And I actually agree with you with that respect. And I think part of the reason we've had such a giant TV number, there's several. Number one, it's in the United States. So we've had so much civic pride watching these great American cities host the foreigners. And then there's also been all these adjacent stories like Freddie, like Europeans shipping Hidden Valley Ranch back home because they can't get it anywhere else.
Dude, and it's exploding all over their luggage.
It's crazy. They love Taco Bell.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things about this that have nothing to do with soccer that's creating a great amount of interest. And then on top of it, we're good. Like we did good in this World Cup. But I actually do think that we are seeing, and people in this part of the country, in the Southeast, are not going to like this. But we are actually seeing, we are living through a pretty seismic shift demographically in our country. High school tackle football participation is down 15%. When you look at 13 and younger, tackle and flag, participation is down 50%, 5-0. When you look at the popularity of sports, ages 6 through 17 say their favorite sport is soccer over football. Children in the United States, age 6 through 17, prefer soccer over American football. Now, that's not going to create a giant disparity today. Like Sunday Night Football this fall is still going to be the most watched thing on television. And then the Super Bowl will do 120 million viewers, and like it always does. But if you go back 50 years to the 1970s, when the NBA Finals were on tape delay, and the NFL was meh, like dudes had second jobs in the offseason. And you go back into the 1970s and try to convince someone in 1976 that in 2026, baseball is going to be the fourth most popular sport in America, which it is, by the way, right now. Soccer has overtaken it. It's football, the NBA, then soccer, then baseball. Try to convince someone of that 50 years ago. They'd laugh in your face. But a lot happened. We got into a microwave society. Baseball is slow. You had the strike in 94. You had the steroid scandal, the exploding popularity of the NFL, international stars in the NBA, and then the popularity of soccer as we've now gotten more injured. Parents don't want their kids playing football because of head injuries and so on. Like, we are living through the shift. And if you can't, like, you don't want to acknowledge it, that's fine. But it's happening. And I believe in my lifetime, we will see a world where probably the NBA and maybe soccer overtakes the NFL. It doesn't look like you can see it today, but where you can see the regression of the NFL, or the median age of an of an NFL fan is getting older, and the NBA and soccer are getting younger, meaning younger fans are choosing things other than football. And we all going to get old and die, and they're going to become the primary demographic eventually. So I think you can fast forward 30, 40 years in the United States and see a world where, yes, I do think there will be a time in this country where soccer and the NBA are the most popular sports in America. And we are living through that change right now. Hidden Valley Ranch. That's so good. They're taking all the ranch dressing. How come we don't export ranch dressing?
It's a good question. I don't know. I mean, maybe they will after this.
I don't know price points and all that sort of stuff on ranch dressing, but it seems like that would be really cheap to make. I know to ship it overseas would cost a lot, but, and I'm not sitting there trying to say take away American jobs. Like, could you produce it over there? I don't know. Send them our dressing.
They're big,
a whole new economy of scale.
They're a big fan of air conditioning in every building, too.
Would you be?
Yeah.
I am.
Absolutely.
We're brought to you by Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com. parishrestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor, and other harmful pathogens. Look, with all this rain, a lot of people have water intrusion. If you have water intrusion, it's a breeding ground for mold. Water and humidity, breeding ground for mold. That's why we live in the mold capital of the world. Have mold, think you might. Our friends at Parish Restoration can help. parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. Go to the homepage, fill out the form. They'll be in touch. They'll schedule a free consult for you. They'll tell you what it'll cost to get your home or your commercial building sprayed. Their patented non-toxic dry fog. It's parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. All right, it is after further review. We'll wrap up hour number 2. Muse will do Tigers and the Pros. Richard Dixon will be here in about 15 minutes from right now. Talking about LSU football. I think tomorrow we are going to get the list of the participants for SEC Football Media Days, which starts a week from today. LSU doesn't go till next Thursday, though, and I don't think LSU's bringing their quarterback. Might have had a little insight, and I will be massively disappointed if that is how it plays. I do not think Sam Levitt's going to SEC Media Days, and I'll be very disappointed if it plays out that way. But we should get the full list of attendees tomorrow, so we'll talk about it when we do. All right, it's after further review. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Muse to do Tigers and the Pros to wrap up hour number 2 next.
AFR.
We're brought to you by the Watermark and the Renaissance. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Hey, summer's here. Maybe you want a little staycation. Well, Watermark is a perfect opportunity. Maybe you can't get out of town for whatever reason. Maybe it's budget, maybe it's time, maybe it's kids, whatever. You want to have a little staycation? Let me make a suggestion. Book a room downtown at Watermark Baton Rouge. Have dinner at the Gregory. Walk up and down 3rd Street. Go visit the USS Kidd if you haven't. The casino's right there on the river. There's tons of shops, outdoor green spaces there at Aurora Plaza in downtown Baton Rouge. Such a great spot. The River Center Theater. Seinfeld was here this past weekend. Buy the ticket, enjoy downtown Baton Rouge, and make Watermark Baton Rouge the central part of it. Right there on 3rd and Convention. Check it out today. It's Watermark Baton Rouge.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and we do shutters too.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2, presented by Relief Windows. Thanks for hanging out with us here on a Monday. Good to be back after a couple of weeks off. Was up in New York for the Barrett Sports Media Conference, then went straight to the beach with the family. So enjoyed some time away, but man, we are in it this week. And then a week from today, we're at SEC Football Media Days down in Tampa. So, and then, by the way, right after that, the Tuesday following the Saints report for training camp. And then the next week, LSU opens training camp. So, y'all, you've made it. One more week to go, and you've made it through the long, arduous football offseason. Muso, Tigers and the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Paul Skeens picked up his 8th win of the season, running his record back to 500 on Sunday. 5 1/3 innings, 2 earned runs, a walk, 7 punch-outs for Skeens. ERA down to 3.57. He is an all-star, but with him pitching Sunday, can't imagine you'll see him in the all-star game on Tuesday night. But you never know. Pirates got their 50th win. That one was 14-5 over the Brew Crew. Alex Bregman turned in one heck of a day. Nope. Turned in one heck of a day. 3 for 5. 3 for 5. 4 RBI. One of those 3 hits was this one.
High fly ball left field. This is well struck. That is back on
His 9th home run of the season would also add his 15th double of the season, drove in 4 in a Cubs victory. Kevin Gausman was on the bump for the Blue Jays. Nope. 6 innings, 3 earned, 3 walks, 8 Ks. He got a no decision. Cam Sanders traded to the Baltimore Orioles. Yep. Pirates get some cash considerations there. That happened this morning at 10:55 a.m., actually. Shout out to Scott Sanders.
I didn't get a text from Scott about it.
I saw it on his Twitter. I saw it on Sandman's Twitter there and was like, well, we're going to put that in there because this is a huge Cam Sanders show. So he's now a member of the Orioles.
Dude, we were like, we are the preeminent Cam Sanders show.
Yeah, this is Cam Sanders show. A 9-7 for Flaugier. That's Tigers and Pros.
Presented by Evermore. EVAMOR. Evermore.com. When I was flying home from New York, had a layover in Dallas. By the way, Dallas Airport has some really good dining options in the Southwest Terminal. However, they're kind of hidden. You walk past the crappy barbecue place and there's a Chili's, but you got to make a left and go down the thing and there's like a Maggiano's and really good stuff, but it's hidden. So just PSA. But you know what they have at the Dallas airport? Evermore. Shout out to the Dallas airport for having Evermore. And shame on you, Baton Rouge and New Orleans airports, for not having Evermore. A great Louisiana company, natural artesian water, healthier alternative, Evermore.com. Got it in the airport. Expose different cultures to Evermore. All right, hour 3's next.
AFR.
What am I doing next? Oh, Parish Construction and Roofing. Hey, so next Friday is the deadline to enter. We are giving away not 1, but 2 fortified roofs. 1 in the greater Baton Rouge area, 1 in the greater New Orleans area. Yes, that's Parish and our new partner, Pro Football Hall of Famer, Drew Brees. So we're excited about this. There no inspection needed, no purchase necessary, nothing. If you live in greater Baton Rouge or greater New Orleans, go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. On the homepage, you'll see 2 shield logos. One says New Orleans roof giveaway, one says Baton Rouge roof giveaway. So if you live in GNO or greater Baton Rouge, click the one that's appropriate to you, enter. The deadline to enter is next Friday, a week from Friday. So go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know, parishbuilt.com.